Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mina, and this week's video is going to be a regular week of reading in my life, basically. So I'm used to making like challenge videos and genre reading videos and readathons and stuff like that on this channel, but I've never actually filmed my day-to-day life and how I regularly read when I'm not doing a challenge or when I'm not doing a readathon. So I decided for this week that it would be a good idea if I were to just film a full week of me reading. This week is going to consist of Sunday until next Saturday. So from Sunday the 17th of March until Saturday the 23rd. And that will be a full week of me reading. Then at the end of the week, we're just going to total how many books I read, maybe how many pages I read if I can keep count of it. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be reading this week. I have a couple of thoughts on some books that I would like to get to at some point this week, and I have some ebooks. I have an audiobook that I'm in the middle of. I have some physical books that I'm interested in reading. So follow me along. I'm not really gonna like go out of my way to read more than I usually do or more than I typically do. This is just gonna be me whenever I feel like picking up a book. Hope you enjoy, and let's just get on with this video because I normally babble on way too much in the intros. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this video and I will see you at the outro. Good morning. As you heard in the intro, this week's video is going to be a regular what I read in my regular week's video. This week is a little bit strange because I don't know what I'm in the mood to read. I have some fantasy, I have some romance. To be honest, I'm more excited for the books that are on my iPad than the books that I have physically. I started reading Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood yesterday, but I only got like 20 pages in. I don't really count that as having read anything. I didn't read anything yesterday. Did I say the day? Today is Sunday, March 17th. Usually I don't read on Saturday, Sunday, because those are the days where I'm doing like editing my video, publishing it, making the thumbnail. I do my like room reset or my like chores for the day if I need to go grocery shopping. Those are the days that I usually do them on, so I don't end up having enough time to read. I am like maybe not even 10% into Love on the Brain. I am really highly anticipating reading Bride on my iPad by Ali Hazelwood because I have that. I have Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I really want to start the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. I also have the first book on here. I have Off the Grid by Kay Bromberg, which is a cute little NASCAR racing F1 type of romance, I guess. I have this book called The Wrong Bride, which I saw a quote of on TikTok and I immediately got. Those are books that I'm very, very excited for that I could potentially read on here this week. I'm not really sure. It usually takes me a lot longer to read on my iPad. For some reason, I get easily distracted. But I also have these books that I really want to read this week. I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And then I have the second book, which is Map of the Other Lands. So these are potentially something that I want to finish this week because they're due back to the library in like 10 days and they have a wait list, so I can't renew them. So these are priority for this week. Welcome to this week of me reading. I will update you if I do read today. I'm not really sure depending on the mood. I spent the morning editing my video for next week. I will have to make the thumbnail and edit the info for that. And these books, and then we have Love on the Brain. If I can finish that this week, that will be nice. And if I can start another ebook, but we'll see. This is just a chill what I read in a week. I'm not gonna rush myself. I'm just gonna read the way I normally do. Hey you guys, so it is Sunday, as I mentioned earlier today. It is 8:49 p.m. and I am here to update you about my reading for the day. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier this morning, I usually don't have time to read over the weekend. I do most of my reading when I'm at work because I usually have time between tasks where I can sit and read for a little bit. Unless I'm really, really enjoying my book, I don't tend to read outside of like after I come home. Today, I had some time. It's one of my chiller weekends and I didn't have a lot to do. I did pick up Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I am on page 45, so I really didn't end up reading all that much, which I didn't expect myself to be able to read that much anyway. It's about this girl who works at NASA and she has to work with her nemesis on a paper or like on a project basically. He's like the project manager. This one is a lot more heavily STEM based. Like there's a lot of like stuff about NASA and the STEM field that they're working in, which I'm not really used to or like ever have read about, so I'm lost in the sauce when it comes to that. But there's a lot of talk about it, especially in the beginning. She just saw the guy for the first time, you know, very tall, very broody. He's like 6'3". I believe is going to be an enemies to lovers, and there's probably going to be some miscommunication because something happened when they were in school together, in like graduate school, I believe, and something happened between them, and I think she might have misinterpreted it. So that's typically how enemies to lovers go. I think that's how this one is going to go as well. I'm not really attached to any of the characters at this point because obviously I just started it. I'm only 45 pages in. I believe I'm like 15% in. The whole book is 245 pages anyways. Not Check and Mate, that's for sure. I enjoyed Check and Mate a lot more, as what I'm saying. I think this one might be my least favorite of the Ali Hazelwood STEMist novels. I'm not really sure, just because of how heavy it is on the stem, and I'm stupid. So, you know, it's a little bit slow when it comes to that. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier today, I will probably pick up Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies tomorrow while I'm at work, because this has to go back to the library in 10 days and I haven't started it. 10 days is more than enough. I'll probably be able to finish this by Wednesday, if not by Tuesday, and then I'll start and pick up the second book. I'm not really in a fantasy fairy vibe at the moment, so I'm afraid when it comes to that, but also I know this one is an easy read. A lot of people love this trilogy, I believe, since the third one hasn't come out yet, but I'm excited to pick it up. I've been meaning to pick it up for a very long time. I'm very excited, and I love fairies, and I love the covers and like the hard coverness of it. I don't know, I just like this edition of the book. I will also probably continue with Love on the Brain because I want to see where it's going to go. I'm not really sure how much I'll be able to read tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be a busy day at work or what. Tuesday might be a little bit busier because I'm picking up a shift for someone else. Might end up reading a little bit less on Tuesday, but I don't think that's going to be a problem, to be honest. I'm going to pick this up tomorrow, and then I will continue with Love on the Brain, and we'll go from there. I'll let you know how it goes. Welcome back. It is 4:23 on Monday the 18th, and today is the second day that you guys will be following along with me for what I read. I have decided to soft DNF this book. I have a reason. This one gives off very like cozy, wintry vibes, and personally I feel like I don't want to read this now because it is not winter and it's not fall and it's not anything even close to those lines. Like, we have 70-degree days here, 80-degree days here, so I feel like this is not the time for me to be reading these. I want to save them for when it's like fall and when the leaves are falling and when the weather is getting colder. So I'll probably be picking up this duology trilogy when it gets closer to September, October, around that time, just because I feel like the vibes for it will be better in that time of year than now. You know what I mean? So I've decided to put this off for a while, because also I'm not really in the mood to pick up something about fairies or fantasy or anything like that. So instead I'm going to be picking up The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. But before I talk about this, hold on. Let's talk about what I did read instead today while I was at work. I instead read I believe it was 60 or 75 pages of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I started yesterday and I read 40 pages of. I read a little bit more today because I really like the story and I'm getting really interested in it. I believe I want to read a little bit more just to get a little further in the story, because just now they're beginning to like talk through the enemies part of the enemies to lovers, you know, like when everything is like, oh, I misunderstood what had happened back then and this is why we're enemies. This follows a very similar the Love on the Brain book feels a lot like The Love Hypothesis. Is that the right one? Or is it Love Theoretically? No, it feels a lot like Love Theoretically, which I read for my Valentine's Day video. It feels a lot like it. It feels like, you know, because that book was enemies to lovers. This one is enemies to lovers. They're both based in STEM. There's misunderstandings in both, and the guy doesn't really hate the girl, and he's a mountain of a man. He's like 6'4", and she's a mouse, and she's quirky and not like other girls, and she's small and tiny and cute and nimble and fragile, and he has to save her, and he has to jump in these moments, and he like looks at her and she thinks it's because he's looking at her with disgust, but he's not really. And yeah, it just feels very familiar. It feels very similar to Love Theoretically, which I just read, I believe, last month, and that's why it feels a lot similar, because the story is still in my head for Love Theoretically. That's why I say that. Obviously, they talked about the man being a big brute. He's like giant, he's gigantic, he's so much bigger than her. She can't really, you know, like she has to look up when she's looking up at him. It literally was described like that in the book, which, you know, kind of puts me off a little bit, but the story is just getting good. They're just now becoming acquaintances, I guess, and I believe we're getting to the part where he tells her like, hey, everything you've thought about me is not right. I don't hate you. Enjoying it a lot. I am on page, I believe, 104, 105. It's on my iPad. I don't have my iPad on me at the moment, but I'm going to sit and read for a little bit more. But yeah, I'm on page 104. I want to stop at least at page 150 today, so then I could probably finish it tomorrow, because I'm interested in the story. Also, I want to finish it so I can read Bride, because I have told myself that this was the last of the STEMist novels, I believe, that I haven't read yet, and I really wanted to read all of them just because I believe this one is a lot of people's favorites, so I picked it up. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite, I'm not going to lie to you. I think I like Love Theoretically a lot in hindsight when I think back at it. So I don't know if this one is going to beat it or not, but I do like that it's set in NASA, and obviously it deals with, you know, like sexism and misogyny and women in STEM and women with colorful hair and tattoos and piercings in STEM and how they're looked at, and when you're not a straight male white, you struggle in the STEM fields. So, you know, it's like the typical Ali Hazelwood formula. You take a big brute of a man, a tiny woman, she's struggling in academics and in STEM, and he is there to save her. Once I do finish with that, I do want to pick up Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. Not really sure. I don't know what this book is about either, but I see that it's been blurbed by Ali Hazelwood. This is a romance novel. I don't know what it's about, to be honest. It's a hefty one. At page one, like, there's 469 pages. I don't know what this book is about. All I know is that I put this on my TBR like 4 years ago at this point. Oh, and it's been blurbed by Tessa Bailey. I don't know what this book is about, but I'll let you know. Maybe it's about a football player and a painter because of the stuff on the cover. So I'm gonna pick it up and I'll let you know how I feel about it. I probably won't pick this up probably until tomorrow, because I don't know. But also I'm really excited to start it, so maybe I'll start it tonight. I'm not really sure. It is 8:52 p.m. I sleep very early. I sleep at like 9, 10, no, I sleep at like 10, 11 p.m. between the ranges of 10 to 11. If I'm really tired, I'm knocked out by 9:30. So I know for a fact that I am not going to continue to read for the rest of the night, because I have to be up at 5 tomorrow morning anyways. Since the night has come to an end, let's review what I read today. So I started the Emily Wilde, I don't know what it's called. I read 25 pages of that, and then I decided I'm not going to continue because I want to save it for the winter time, for the fall time, for when the leaves are changing and things feel magical, because I feel like that's the weather it's meant to be read in. And then I read 75 pages of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, and then when I got home, I updated you obviously, and then as you saw, I sat and read a little bit more of Love on the Brain. I read until page 154, and according to my ebook, which is 244 pages, I am more than halfway through. So I have less than 100 pages left, and I plan on reading those tomorrow. So my goal for tomorrow is to finish Love on the Brain and to start The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I don't know what this is about. I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow after I finish Love on the Brain. I don't know why I continue to forget the name of that book. For some reason, I wasn't even interested in reading it, and then what did I read that made me interested in it? I read Check and Mate, and the random number generator picks how many hours I read for. After reading the Check and Mate book, I realized that I've read mostly all of Ali Hazelwood's works. I read The Love Hypothesis, I read Love Theoretically, I read Check and Mate, and now I'm reading Love on the Brain, and I also wanted to read the Not in Love book that's coming out in April. She's coming out with that, and then Bride, which also just came out, and I've been meaning to read that for a very long time. So I was like, if I read Bride and I read Not in Love and I read Love Theoretically, The Love Hypothesis, and Checkmate, then why don't I just read Love on the Brain, and that would catch me up to most of her works, I believe, at that point. Because I didn't want to allow myself to read Bride before I read Love on the Brain, because I believe that's a lot of people's favorites when it comes to Ali Hazelwood's works. I understand why. I'm getting into it. The part that I am at now, I'm on chapter 17, and they're just now leaving the threshold of being enemies, and they're kind of starting to realize that the other is not that bad of a person and that they might actually enjoy each other's company. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars as well, because I'm enjoying my experience reading it and I'm not checking the time, and I found myself giggling and like feeling a lot of feelings when I read it, which is so easy to do with Ali Hazelwood's works. I feel like she's one of the authors that if you read her works, most of the time you're gonna leave them being like, oh my god, that was so cute, because most of her work, yes, it's repetitive, yes, the plot line is like recycled and reused in different books and different fonts, but I still enjoy her works. I like it a lot. I'm enjoying it. I love the main characters. I love the plot line. I want to say that it is repetitive when it comes to like the misogyny and the sexism and stuff like that, because obviously it is true in the academics world that women have a harder time, but considering I just read Checkmate and that was a big plot of it, the misogyny being a big plot of this one as well is kind of boring. I wish she had gone for a different type of conflict. That would have kept it interesting, but maybe I'll get that in Bride or Not in Love. So I'm okay with where the book is at this point. I'm enjoying it. It's making me giggle and laugh and blush, and you know, I like it. I'm not mad about it. I'm definitely going to be finishing it tomorrow, which is exciting because I haven't finished a book in a few days, and it kind of feels weird because I was on a wave of like finishing a book almost every day. I read 20 books in March so far, guys, because we're on what, March 17th today, March 18th, and I've finished 20 books so far this month. I think that's the most I've ever read in an entire month, like ever. So it feels a little bit strange to not be finishing books at that speed, but also I like that I'm taking my time. And I've rambled on enough. I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes talking. So I hope to listen to a little bit more of my audiobook, which is Assistant to the Villain. I started it on my random number generator picks how many hours I read for challenge, and I started listening to it. I listened to like 2.5 hours of it, and then I haven't listened to it since. It does have to go back to the library at some point within the next 2 weeks. So I do need to start listening to that if I plan on finishing it. And if not, then I just need to return it to see if that I'm not interested in it. So I'll probably listen to that tomorrow on my drive to work, because I usually listen to audiobooks in the morning. I don't really like listening to music on my commute to work. So I'll probably listen to that. And then when I get to work, yeah, I'll probably finish Love on the Brain, and then I'll probably start this one. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Hey besties, so it is March 19th, Tuesday. It is 1:05 p.m. As you saw earlier, I finished, is it Love on the Brain? I think that's what it's called. I finished Love on the Brain. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'll talk more about it once I'm at home, because I'm at work right now, so can't really say much. I started The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, and I'm on page 70. It's kind of cute about this girl who is a personal assistant to the Wall of Winnipeg, who is a football player, a Canadian football player that plays for Dallas's team, I want to say. It's very cute, very fun. I'm reading it a little bit slowly, but that's because I'm a little bit tired and sleepy, and I don't have caffeine in my system. So, but yeah, I finished the last 100 pages of Love on the Brain this morning. That was the very first thing I did, actually. And then 70 pages. welcome back. It is still Tuesday, the 19th. It is 4:32 p.m. I just got back from work. We talked about it earlier today, but let's discuss again. I started the day off reading Love on the Brain. Oh my god, all of her titles for the STEMist novels have love in the title. I did not realize that until now. I finished Love on the Brain. I had 100 pages of it left, so I read those and I finished them. I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars because it was fun, it was a good time, it was easy to get through. I loved the relationship. Considering the fact that I just got done reading Check and Mate and then I read Love on the Brain, it felt a little too similar. The stories felt a little bit too similar. The conflict in the story was a little bit similar to what happened in the Check and Mate. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I enjoyed it. I definitely recommend it if you like Ali Hazelwood's writing and her formula works for you. I think had I read it maybe in a couple more weeks where I had a break from Check and Mate and then this one, then I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to be picking up Bride anytime soon. I think I need a break from Ali Hazelwood's writing in case she does follow the same formula in Bride. I don't want to hate it. I really want to like Bride, and I've never read anything from the Omegaverse either, so I'm kind of nervous when it comes to that, so I don't think I'm going to be picking up Bride for at least a couple more weeks. I might read something else in the middle. I just got Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, and I've never read a Tessa Bailey book before. I don't want to start any series right now because I'm in the middle of 21 series right now, so I'm trying to stick to standalones. That's why I haven't started Done and Dusted Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver, even though I really want to. I also have Off the Grid by Kate Bromberg. I think that one is a series. I don't think that one is a standalone. I gotta check on those though. I picked up The Wall of Winnipeg by Mariana Zapata. I don't know. I'm on page, I updated you. I think I was on page 60, 70, something like that. I'm on page 154. Just how far in I am. I mentioned what this is about. This is basically about a girl who works as a personal assistant to a very, very famous, very, very good football player, like a professional football player. She quits and then some things happen. I'm having a good time reading it, but it reads a little bit slow. This will be my focus for tomorrow, just because I want to get through it because it's been on my TBR for years and years. I also have a Lim Painter book that I can pick up, and A Touch of Darkness, I believe it's called, which is supposed to be like a Hades Persephone retelling, and I'm really excited for that one, even though it's very low on the ratings on Goodreads. That kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but I'm excited to pick it up. So the faster I get through this behemoth of a book, this 500-page book, and the pages are thin, and the font is extremely small. There's a lot on every page. It's a little bit repetitive, and also the first 50 pages was just a bunch of info dump, and so that kind of made me a little bit nervous that I'm not gonna like it as much. There's no chemistry between the characters. There's nothing there, nothing. That's why I want to get into it so I can actually see the romance, because I think this one is supposed to be a romance. I don't know, but apparently it's also a slow burn, so I gotta wait it out. But hopefully I like it. This one is very highly rated on Goodreads. Not that I trust the Goodreads rating, but still. I mean, I go by them most of the time, let me not lie. It's taken a very different turn from what I expected, and definitely not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. With that being said, that's the update for right now. Like I said, it is 4:40. It is, I believe, 9 p.m. right now, and I'm about to go to bed. I just wanted to update you. I have read 10 more pages of The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I'm on page 168. I believe I was on page 150 something, 154. Yeah, 155 when I came home from work today. I didn't have much time to read, but I did get in 10 pages, so that's something. Just how far in I am. Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be picking up an ebook, depending on if I finish The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. If I finish that one, then I'll probably pick up Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, or like I said, I need to look up the other books that I have and if they're series or not. As of right now, my priority is to finish The Wall of Winnipeg and Me tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens from there. Hello, it is Wednesday, March 20th. 4:12 p.m. I listened to Assistant to the Villain, the audiobook that I'm listening to right now. I listened to maybe an hour and a half of that on my drive to work and while I was getting set up for my day. And also I obviously listened to it in double speed, so it's not actually that I listened to it for an hour and a half, but it says that I'm an hour and a half further than I was before. It has to go back to the library in 8 days. So my goal, my plan is to listen to like at least 2 hours of it tomorrow for the next few days, because I have, I believe, 7-8 hours left on it if I'm not wrong. So I need to listen to a lot of it before I return it. I'm enjoying it. It's a fun time. It's easy, cozy. It feels very cozy fantasy. You know, like the villain is known that he's the villain everywhere in the town that they live in, and everyone fears him except for his assistant, and he has a little soft spot for her and she has a little soft spot for him. So it's very cute. I'm enjoying it very much. I really like it. I finished reading The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I gave this one 3.75 stars. It's between 3.75 and 4 stars because I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It's very fun. It's like a marriage of convenience. She's his assistant. She quits and he doesn't want her to quit because she's the one person basically that he doesn't hate, because he's like a grumpy person, and she's also kind of grumpy but not as grumpy as him. It was a very dragged out slow burn, although like once the slow burn kind of kicked into the actual romance, I feel like it wasn't what I wanted, what I've been waiting 450 pages for, you know? They slow burned and then there was no like, oh my god, this is happening, you know? Like the tension, the anticipation of them like touching hands or whatever. I didn't feel that with this for some reason, even though I really like the characters. I love Aiden, and I love Vanessa, and I love Zach, and I love every character in here. There's like even secondary characters that I enjoyed, and it's a good book. It's not bad by any means. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It just got a bit it got a bit repetitive, because then she would talk about how big he is like 80 times a page. I'm not even kidding. Like we get a description of how big he is at least once every 2 pages, and it's so irritating because it's so repetitive. Like we get it, we understand he's huge, he's gigantic, he can't fit through a door frame. Like I get it, he's big, you know? So that kind of aggravated me. And then also we spend a lot of time in the main character's head instead of like actually being able to see what's happening. We just get like pages and pages of like info dump. And the bonus chapter was okay. I didn't really hate it. I didn't really like it. I found myself giggling and there was a bit of spice in here, but like one scene and it was kind of tame. I definitely read better. And I've definitely read worse. So, you know, you do with that info what you will. As for what I plan to do for the rest of the day, this book has been in the back of my head for months. No, for weeks, since it came out. Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I really want to read that book. I don't know why. I just got it on my iPad. I've never read a Tessa Bailey book, so I figure why not start with this one. I don't know if I'll be listening to any more of my audiobook. I do want to start This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I don't know what this is about. This one's 321 pages. I probably will be able to finish this by tomorrow. Yeah, if you can do the size comparison between these two, like, you know, like crazy. I'm guessing this has some witchy magic elements to it. Not start This Spells Love. I will probably be starting that and finishing that tomorrow. And then I read like 2 pages of Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I did not know it was about a golf player, but I think it's about a golf player and his fangirl. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. According to my ebook, it's 245 pages. So I'll probably end up reading This Spells Love tomorrow and then making that my priority. And then when I finish that, because that's the plan, is to finish it tomorrow, because I have a Lim Painter book that I really want to read before the end of this week, and tomorrow's Thursday. So the plan is that I finish This Spells Love. Here's how the day is gonna go, because usually my days are pretty similar when it comes to how I structure them. So I'll probably drive to work listening to The Villain's Assistant, or Assistant to the Villain. And then once I'm at my office, if I have some free time, I will probably read This Spells Love and I will try to finish it. And then if I don't finish it at work, I'll probably try my best to finish it when I'm at home. That's the plan. And then if I do finish it, then I'll probably pick up Fangirl Down. But if not, it's not really my priority. I'm trying to focus on the actual physical books that I have because they need to go back to the library. But the ebooks that I do have are just mine, so I can read them whenever I want. So that's the plan. I believe Saturday will be the last day that I do this. So we only have, what, 3 more days that you will see me read. That's it for the night, to be honest. I don't see myself reading anymore. I think I'm just gonna chill and maybe watch some TikToks or something. I'll see you tomorrow when we talk about what I'm reading. I'm really tired, guys. It is 5:25 p.m. on Thursday, and I started and finished This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed this. I gave this 3.5 stars. It's basically about this girl who goes through a really bad breakup. She has a guy best friend, and her aunt is a witch, and so they have her do this spell to like remove this guy from her memory because they were dating for a while and the breakup really hurt her and broke her heart. And so she's like, oh, I wish I never met him, and I wish I could go back in time, go back to the day that I met him and be like, no thank you. The spell works, and when she goes back in time, she realizes that she actually loves her best friend. So she lives in like this parallel universe, and she has to stay there for a month because the moon has to be in a certain phase for her to do the reversal of the spell. There's a little bit of spice in here, but only like a couple of scenes, if that. I really enjoyed it, had a fun time reading it. It read really, really quickly. I read it within like a few hours, and it's very, very small, like very, very small. Barely anything. I think this would be even better if you read it around like Halloween or around fall. Definitely recommend it if you like a little witchy rom-com. Then I picked up Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I am on page 103, so that makes me 41% in through this book. I'm enjoying it. This is, like I said, my very first Tessa Bailey book. Oh my god, the spice in here is crazy. Tessa Bailey? Girl, what? Where have I been? Where have I been? I've completely missed out on all of the spice that this woman be writing because her writing is incredible. This book is about this girl who is the biggest #1 fan of this golf player, and he's like technically a has-been because he sucks now and he has no fans and everyone hates him and nobody really likes him because he's kind of a douchebag, and she's like his #1 fan, and she's there every game and she stands her ground and she loves him, and she wins like lunch lesson combo with him because she enters like an absurd amount of times in the contest, and he's like no, and something's happened and she stops being his fan, but then somehow they reconcile and a bunch of stuff goes down from there. Kind of enemies to lovers, but not really, and he's kind of a grump, so kind of a grumpy sunshine, and the girl is a diabetic, which is interesting. Like I said, I think this might be the second book about a diabetic girl that I ever read because there's not a lot of representation for that in books that I read, at least. I think right now we're probably at a 4 stars because the banter is written really well and the story is really fun to read about, although it feels very insta-lusty. So like I said, I'm like 100 pages in and already they're down and dirty. It feels a little bit rushed because one second they can't stand each other and then the next something is happening and it's not even out of hate. And he's like calling her baby. So I don't know. I'll probably read a little bit more of that tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I'm also focusing on The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I don't know what this book is about, but I did read Not Like the Movies by Lynn Painter, and I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time reading it. I don't know what this book is about, but I know that I enjoy Lynn Painter's writing, and this book has been on my TBR for a while. I believe this is the second book in like a series of standalones, maybe something like that. I'm not sure, but I didn't want to read. I think the first book is called Mr. Wrong Number. So I think that's what it is. I don't know if they follow the same storyline or not, but all I know is that I wanted to read this one and I didn't want to read Mr. Wrong Number because I'm not interested in Mr. Wrong Number. I'm interested in this one. This book is 289 pages with the epilogue, so I'll probably be able to finish this tomorrow if I'm really thinking on it. Honestly, yeah, I'll probably be able to finish this tomorrow in one sitting. I love Lynn Painter's writing and I love her storytelling, and I loved Not Like the Movies. I'm actually thinking of rereading Not Like the Movies. I also listened to another hour and a half of my Assistant to the Villain audiobook. I'm enjoying that one as well. I think I'm 40 something percent in, almost halfway through. I think actually I'm a lot more than 40% in. I'm 52% in of Assistant to the Villain. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really funny. It's making me laugh. Some conflict happened between the characters today that made me really get involved in the story. Like I said, it's a fun, cozy fantasy. I'm thinking of giving it maybe 3.75 stars or 4 stars, depending on how the next 50% go. The plan for the rest of the day is to read the 50 pages of Fangirl Down. I read a little bit more, and I am on page... Why don't we check? I'm on page 176 out of 245. Girl, what is going on in this book? I am enjoying it so much. It's so funny. It actually makes me laugh. The romance is funny, and it's not like the most in-depth romance that I've ever read. I've read better romances. This one is just so fun to read, and I can confidently say without a shadow of a doubt that the spice in this book is unlike anything that I have ever read before. There was a scene when they were in the shower and the girl did something, and I have never read about a girl doing that to a guy ever. And I've read a lot of spicy books. It's definitely not my favorite romance book. It's definitely not my least favorite romance book. It's kind of funny. It's kind of adorable. There's a little bit of depth between the two characters, but other than that, it just feels so surface level. It feels like it's not what it should be. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like it's missing something. It doesn't feel like it's a complete romance because it feels like they met and then shit was hitting the fan and everything was happening all at once and suddenly he loves her, you know? Tomorrow, like I said, I'm probably going to be listening to a little bit more of my audiobook, and then I'm going to read The Love Wager, and then I'm obviously going to finish Fangirl Down, which I did not expect that I would be finishing it in 2 days. And I will see you tomorrow with another day of what I read in a week. It's 7:36 in the morning and I just made it to work, and I'm going to sit here and I listened to an hour and a half of my audiobook. I have 5 hours and a half left, and I think I might listen to a little bit more of it today. I'm not sure, depending. Maybe I'll listen to it on my way home. I'm going to pick up my iPad and I'm going to read and finish Fangirl Down. Today is Friday, March 22nd. I read some more of Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I gave it 3.5 stars, I want to say. Yeah, 3.5 stars. Between 3.5 stars and 3.75 stars. If there was something in the middle of that, I would give it that. Very entertaining, very fun to read, very easy to read. I flew through it within 2 days and I did not expect that to happen. The dude is actually insane. He's so in love with her. Like, you know the trope where it's like she falls but he falls harder? He falls like cannot see straight. He's like 10 feet underground. He is so down horrendously bad for her. He loves her so much, and that is my problem with it because I feel like it was so rushed. I don't feel like we had time to really see the attraction between the characters. It feels like it was very much physically necessary. It feels like they found each other physically attractive, and so then they just basically went from there. It doesn't feel like there's any chemistry really, like emotional wise or feelings wise. Even though it was still a little bit lackluster, I still enjoyed the story and I found it fun and it was easy to read, and it was my very first Tessa Bailey book, so when it comes to that, I can still say that I enjoyed it. And then I picked up The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This might be my highest rated book of this week because I gave it 4.25 stars. Lynn Painter, The Women That You Are. I love Lynn Painter. I love her writing. I love her banter. I love her romance. I love the way she paints a scene. This book is about this girl and this guy who end up having a one-night stand at a wedding. She's a bartender at the wedding, and they end up having a one-night stand, and then they become best friends, and it goes downhill from there. It's best friends to lovers, idiots in love. They're both so adorable and so funny. I had the best time reading this. I started it and finished it in one sitting because I couldn't put it down. And then after I finished this one, I put the Mr. Wrong Number, which is the first book in this duology, on my TBR because it basically follows the story of the guy's sister and his best friend being in love. So I'm interested to read that because Lynn Painter knows how to write dialogue and banter and romance and tension. This is a best friends to lovers, and I don't really typically read a lot of best friends to lovers. This one hit the spot. If you haven't read a Lynn Painter book, please pick it up. I think this one might be my second Lynn Painter book that I've read, and I've loved it, and I always give her books high ratings. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was such a fun time to read. So fun. The characters are so fun. The plot is so fun. The idiots that they are for each other, oh my god, I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. I had the best time reading it. I will definitely be picking up the first book in this duology because you can read them out of order. It doesn't really matter. It would probably be better if you read the first book first, but since I didn't do that and I didn't think I was interested in it, should have known better because Lynn Painter knows how to paint a scene. It's in her name. It's in her name, sister. It feels like a rom-com. That's the best way I can describe it. It literally feels like I'm watching a rom-com happen in front of my eyes. As of right now, I don't see myself picking up anything. I really don't. I feel like I'm gonna burn out if I pick up another book today. I really want to pick up A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which is a retelling of Persephone and Hades' story. I had an obsession with Lore Olympus on, the comic on the webtoon, I guess it's called, a webtoon, I don't know. I used to read it online all the time and then I stopped, but I still love it and I still sometimes go back and I look at like older chapters of them so much, and I love the story of Hades and Persephone. So when I found out that this was a retelling of Persephone and Hades, I was like, well, I have to read it because I love Persephone and Hades and their story and how much they love each other and how much they sacrificed for each other. So my goal for tomorrow is to listen to the audiobook while I do my cleaning around the house, and then once I'm done, I kind of want to start this and finish it tomorrow. I will see you either tonight when I tell you that I started another book, or I'll see you tomorrow when I tell you that I started another book. I listened to Assistant to the Villain. I think I listened to, I want to say I was at, I don't know, I am 79%. I've listened to 10 hours 58 minutes of it, and I have 2 hours and 56 minutes left of it. Definitely recommend if you're looking for a cozy fantasy but you don't like a lot of world building, because there was no world building in this one. It was just like, here's the book, you'll get the grasp of it, and you do. I don't think I'm gonna listen to any more of it today. If I do, it will be very, very little. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna see where I go from there. Guys, I'm DNFing. I sure am. So the reason why I'm DNFing this one is not because it's bad, it's just because the story of Persephone and Hades in this book is more of like a trashy romance type of book, and because I like Hades and Persephone a little too much because of Lore Olympus, this one doesn't feel like it's something that I will be interested in or something that I would enjoy. So I ended up DNFing it around page, I want to say page 80. I feel like Persephone and Hades are just too precious for me to read about them in like a trashy romance, smutty romance type of book. Today is Sunday, and that means we are doing the wrap up of everything that I read. I listened to 80% of Assistant to the Villain. I'm still enjoying it very much. I'm having the time of my life listening to it. I listened to a little bit more of it this morning. It's right now at 3.75 stars. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying myself listening to it. Then we have Low on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I gave 3.5 stars to. I enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it. The reason I gave it 3.5 stars is because obviously it felt a little bit repetitive from Check and Mate, and I just need a break from Ali Hazelwood for a little bit. I picked up The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. I enjoyed my time reading this book. This one was very fun, very easy, very slow burny. So it took me a little bit longer to get into it than usual, and I didn't see myself really wanting to DNF it other than the beginning stages of this book when it was very repetitive, very, very repetitive. Then I picked up The Spell's Love by Kate Robb, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a fun time. Best friends to lovers, idiots to lovers. I had a good time reading it. Felt very easy. It's very, very tiny, so if you are looking for an easy, cozy read and that has a little bit of magic and a little bit of fantasy in it, and not like fantasy, but I guess magical realism, then I think you would enjoy this one. If you like best friends to lovers, this one was cute. This one was adorable. Then I picked up Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey, and girl, do I have some conflicting thoughts about that book. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it, although the romance was a little bit strange. The spice was a little bit strange. Maybe it's just because it's something that I'm not used to, and I don't really read a lot about stuff like that. But I had a good time reading it. It was easy. It was very easy to get through. Like I said, I read it in 2 days, and I hadn't expected myself to do that. Still enjoyed it, I guess. That is the bottom line. And then I picked up what is my favorite book of this entire challenge, which is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. 4.25 stars. I recommend. I love it. I had the best time reading it. I read it in one sitting. I loved it, ate it up. I obviously ended up DNFing A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which sucks because I really wanted to like this one. This one just didn't hit the spot for me, unfortunately. And yeah, the 80 pages that I read were fine. So if you are interested in reading it and you've never read anything about Persephone and Hades and don't know how deep their story is, then I think you would enjoy this one. I hope you enjoyed. I read in total, we have the 2 ebooks that I read and the 3 books that I have here, and then like 50% of my audiobook. So technically I read 5 books. I really, really enjoyed myself. I definitely will be doing this video a lot more because I feel like it's fun to see what people gravitate towards. Like I said, I read 3 romances in 1 week. I mean, I guess Love on the Brain is also a romance, and Fangirl Down is definitely a romance. So I read 5 romance books, and that does not surprise me. That is the end of this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you watched all the way towards the end, thank you so much. That means the world to me. I hope you have the best day. Treat yourself to something nice, and I'll see you guys again next week with another video. Goodbye.